Hello, beautiful soul family. Rebecca here, your vibe mentor, helping you raise your vibration so you can live your best life. Let's talk about calming the nervous system today. Bear with me. I am working through a little bit of a cold. I'm going to have to take a drink because my throat just got really dry when I started there. So, calming the nervous system. All right, so I've done a couple videos this week around adverse childhood experiences, complex trauma, being hypersensitive, and all of that impacts our nervous system. So if you are a highly sensitive person or you have experienced any type of situation where you felt unsafe for an extended period of time, you will notice that if you go into a situation that in some way triggers you, your nervous system will freak out. Your body will just get really tense and tight, and you'll feel agitated, or you'll feel like you want to run, or you might shut down, or you just feel unsafe. And you'll notice that it's almost like your intelligent thought process kind of goes offline, and your reptilian brain takes over, and sometimes you may even say and do things that you wouldn't normally say and do out of fear or concern for being attacked or unsafe. So we have to learn, not we have to, I don't want to say that. It is in our best interest to learn how to work with the nervous system, because the body is not our enemy. The body actually is a beautiful, beautiful gift that is like the mother who nurtures your soul. She is trying to keep you safe, and she has a lot of healing gifts available to you. So we want to work with the body and understand that the sort of the freak out that happens when you're triggered or when a situation seems unsafe, it may be an exaggerated response to the external stimuli because of the previous experiences that you've had in your life that have suggested to the brain that this is unsafe. But the truth is that they are not always as threatening as the brain may perceive them to be. And so while the body is our friend, the body may respond more in a more exaggerated fashion than is called for these situations. So we want to really get in touch with someone. I highly suggest a brain spotting facilitator, which I am, but there's plenty out there, who can help you start to heal the trauma and identify the trauma responses that you have employed in your life, so that you can recognize whether or not something actually is calling for the exaggerated response that you may be experiencing. So once you've done that, you'll want to, and you can just do this on your own too, if you start to recognize, some random guy at the grocery store said, why did you cut me off? And that somehow created this whole spiral of like, am I valuable and worthy? And you end up with, I'm a nobody, right? And so you've spiraled, you've catastrophized, and you've gone all the way down this rabbit hole of unworthiness, and it was all driven by some guy who was just having a bad day, and really it meant nothing about you. So that exaggerated response is an indication that your trauma has been triggered. So what we want to do in that situation is your body's going to be activated. We want to understand what's happening in the body and how to calm the nervous system. So the autonomic nervous system produces 3 different states. It's rest and digest, fight or flight, or shutdown. So fawn and freeze are part of the shutdown. There is a hierarchy. So if you are feeling safe, if you are engaging with friends and having a good time, maybe with family, you're in a social and safe environment, you're going to be in a rest and digest state. If Joe at the grocery store said, why'd you cut me off? Your fight or flight mechanism is going to be triggered. Now, if the fight or flight mechanism is not serving its purpose, it's not getting you to a safe place, you're going to move into shutdown. And so recognizing just sort of the progression of how the nervous system will operate is one of the first keys. And another key to be aware of here is something called the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve carries the signals from your brain to your heart, your lungs, your digestive system. The vagus nerve, it runs along the spinal cord. It also touches your vocal cords. It goes all throughout the body. The vagus nerve is, I think vagus actually means wandering, because it is the only nerve that covers as vast a majority of your body as, it is the only nerve that covers a vast majority of your body. The rest of the nerves don't cover as much area. So the vagus nerve plays a role in controlling involuntary sensory and motor functions like your heart rate, your speech, your mood, even your urine output. You notice that rest and digest is the healthy state of nervous system where we want to be primarily. Notice digestion is connected there. If you think of, being out on the Sahara Desert and having to run from a tiger or a lion, you don't need to digest your food, you need to run. So everything goes from your organs to your limbs so that you can run, which means you're not digesting, you're not in growth and healing and repair if you're stuck in fight or flight, which often happens if you have adverse childhood experiences, if you have complex trauma. Hypersensitivity is an indication that you have experienced those things, and the potential for hypervigilance is very, very high for, or even the system shutdown is very high for anyone that has experienced those things. So the vagus nerve is what helps your body switch back and forth between fight or flight and the response from your parasympathetic nervous system back to a more relaxed system. So it's kind of like the light switch, right? We're either in fight or flight or we're in rest and digest. And I tend to oversimplify and just put fight or flight and immobilization or system shutdown as one, because it's just kind of the extreme of it, versus the rest and digest, which is where we want to be primarily the vast majority of the time. So just remember that when you are on the Sahara Desert running from the tiger or the lion, that's a momentary thing. You run for a bit, you escape, you survive, you sit down and you relax. You look at like a gazelle or any animal who's been chased on the Sahara Desert by a lion or a tiger. I'm not even sure what lives on the Sahara Desert, so don't shoot me if that's wrong, but they will shake. After the chase, they go and they shake it off. So shaking is one of the 7 suggestions that we'll get to in how to calm the nervous system, that the nervous system is going to contain this nervous energy, this amplified charge, if you will, until it is released. And so we've never been taught how to release trauma from the body, release and discharge the nervous system. So this likely within my lifetime will be common knowledge and taught in schools, but for right now, you're lucky to be here, right? So the vagus nerve can lose its ability to switch back and forth. Consider it a muscle. So if it's constantly going fight or flight, fight or flight, fight or flight, and it's never going rest and digest, it's always leaning towards fight or flight. If you're in hypervigilance, then it is going to be like a muscle that has, apathy. It's going to have a harder time switching back over to rest and digest. So this is again where these exercises are going to be helpful in strengthening the vagus nerve and helping you switch back into that rest and digest state. It all starts with recognizing whether or not the trigger is truly a threat or if it's a trauma trigger. All right. So vagal dysfunction. So if the vagus nerve is apathied, if it's not accurately, it's not commonly, it's not easily, it's not just as easily moving into rest and digest as it is into fight or flight, then it puts you at risk for high blood pressure, heart disease, diabetes, depression, anxiety. Right? Another important point to note is that the vagus nerve, like I said, it's connected to the vocal cords. It's in the face. It is very triggered by, and I guess that word can be both positive and negative here, by facial expression. So if you walk into a room and somebody's smiling and, hey John, hey Sally, I'm so happy to see you. It's so great you're here. It's so wonderful to see you again. It's been so long, right? The smile, the pitch of the eyes, and even the tone of the voice is being noticed by the vagus nerve. And actually the vagus nerve, like I said, it goes all throughout the body. So the vagus nerve is constantly sort of scanning the environment for indications of whether or not we're safe. So if you're grumpy and your voice is really low and you're like, John or Sally, why did you do that? You should have been here and you weren't here, and now all these problems, right? So the vagus nerve notices even just tone of voice and facial expression. So those are the extremes, right? Very happy, very angry. But if someone just has a flat affect, or even if someone has a mask on and you can't see, any neutral or indistinguishable expressions will send the message to the vagus nerve that it might not be safe. So we might have a propensity to move towards that triggered state. So let's get into it. 7 tips to calm your nervous system, 7 tips to strengthen your vagus nerve. Number 1 is breath work, and I will say that with an exception, that the right breathing will calm the vagus nerve. If you are using very quick, fast breathing exercises, you actually will trigger a fight or flight response. So think about, how do you breathe when you're running from the tiger, and how do you breathe when you are chilled on the couch watching a TV show? That is going to be the indication of whether or not the breath work is going to serve you. So I really like the 5.5 breath suggestion, and that's breathing in for the count of 5 and then exhaling for the count of 5. And the recommendation is even to extend the exhale longer than the inhale, if at all possible. So you can either just have an exhale that is longer than the inhale, or you can also do the 5.5 breath. And either of those can be very calming to the nervous system. It will slow your heart rate, it will create heart coherence, and it will have that calming effect. It will help strengthen the vagus nerve. It will help tell the vagus nerve to switch into rest and digest. So again, just remember, vigorous breath work is not going to be helpful, and it will activate the fight or flight response. Number 2 is to discharge the fight or flight energy. We can actually run in place, punch a pillow, or like I said, shake our bodies. And we need to normalize shaking, right? Like you just kind of like shake it out, right? You can just shake your hands. It doesn't have to be a certain part of your body, but just that shaking tells the body we're not running, we're here now, and we're releasing. Again, personally, the suggestion to run for me will activate the fight or flight system, so you do have to look at what, even punching a pillow, right? It's aggressive, it's angry, so you have to look at what serves you. Try these things out and look at, how do you feel afterwards? Do you feel calmer? Do you feel better? Or do you feel more activated? Number 3 is remembering that the vagus nerve is connected to the vocal cord. So humming, singing, especially peaceful songs, maybe a lullaby your mother used to sing you, something of that nature. Just the om, right? Om. You're vibrating the vocal cord and helping to calm the vagus nerve that is directly connected to the vocal cords. Meditation goes without saying, but again, it is really critical that if you find that you have those very negative, pervasive, persistent thought loops, that may not be helpful for you. That if you're not able to calm your mind, that it may not serve you. But when you are able to calm your mind, you're calming your breathing, you're resting into a physical state. For a long time, for meditation, I didn't prefer to sit up. And even to this day, sometimes standing for too long or sitting, I find it still very difficult for my nervous system to calm, that I would like to meditate laying down. And if I did it early enough in the day, then I wouldn't fall asleep. I don't necessarily recommend caffeine. It certainly is activating for the nervous system. But when you're in that more alert state, you can meditate laying down, and that will also help to tell the system that we are safe. It is safe to switch into rest and digest. Number 5 is exercise, just exercise in general, especially a calm walk, something that is not too aggressive. Boxing probably isn't the thing unless it works for you. To each his own. It's going to be different for everybody. But exercise will help to get the blood flowing, help to get the blood back out of our limbs and back into our organs, and again, trigger that rest and digest, growth, healing, repair. Number 6, massage. This is my favorite one. It's a good excuse to get a massage. Reflexology can be amazing. Rub your own feet if you have to. This doesn't have to be, an expensive outing where, just your partner massaging your shoulders for a bit, or you massaging your own feet can help send the signal to the nervous system that it is safe and time to calm. And then my least favorite of all is the cold water immersion. I cannot take a cold shower. I like to shave, and I don't know if you know, but after you shave, if you put cold water on your body, you ruin the shave. So that doesn't work for me. But, if you want to jump into a cold pool, jump into a cold river, cold lake, take a cold shower, or you can just splash your face with cold water, which is what works for me. Even drinking a glass of cold water can be helpful, or putting an ice pack on your neck. I like to put ice packs on the sides here, and that helps with some of the lymphatic drainage as well. Yeah, or you can put it on your face even. So the benefits of calming the vagus nerve, if you are prone to seizures, it can help decrease that tendency. Otherwise, it does treat depression, helps regulate your mood, regulates your blood pressure, lowers your heart rate, reduces inflammation, and decreases migraines or just traditional cluster headaches. So there's a lot of benefit to this. And I will say this is just 7 of the many, many, many exercises that are out on the internet, especially on YouTube. So, you know, if you've tried these and you haven't found the thing that works for you, I mean, there's things like ear massage and neck massage and all sorts of things that you can do. Another one I'll just add a little bonus here is searching around the room. So if you think about, you know, an animal who's, you know, on the Sahara Desert and scanning for a predator, what they do is they look all around, right? We check the perimeter and make sure that there are no predators, right? And so we have sent the message to the brain, to the vagus nerve, that I don't see anything that's a threat. We're good here, right? There's no problems. And so that's a simple one. And you can even use that one if you're, you know, at a party. Hopefully there's not someone that you consider a threat there, but just checking the room and sort of sending the message. Just remember, we're working with a bit of a primitive system here. And so it's really, again, like I say, with a lot of things, it's about understanding how to play the game called life. This is basic life skills that we will have taught in schools before I die. So I will leave you with that. I love you guys very much. Please do reach out if you need any support in healing complex trauma, if you've experienced adverse childhood events, or if you have hypersensitivity and you're not sure how to work with those, if you find that you know the things you're supposed to be doing, but you still self-sabotage, or you can't quite get yourself to do it, or you feel overwhelmed, that it is the glass ceiling of trauma that keeps you from stepping into your life purpose. And I know how to heal it. I've done it for myself and for many of my clients. So there is a way out. There is a path to freedom. You don't have to live in this cage of fear anymore, this cage of hypervigilance, white knuckling life. And it is beautiful on the other side. So reach out if you need any support. I do offer free 30-minute sessions. There's a link below. Otherwise, please do like, subscribe, and share. Leave just an emoji comment. That would be greatly appreciated. Click this button to be notified of the next video coming up. Otherwise, this video was picked just for you. So I will see you on the flip side. Take care. Namaste.